Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with the greatest recordings ever. And today's is, well, this has always been near and dear to my heart. Ivan Moravec plays the complete Chopin Ballades. God, they're gorgeous, aren't they? I mean, just unbelievably beautiful, beautiful pieces. And they are played to the nines by Mr. Moravec. You know, he was one of the great keyboard colorists of the recorded age. You know, he spent hours and hours and hours, tuning and adjusting his piano and making sure, practicing like crazy. And his models were Gieseking and Michelangelo, which is a very, very high standard to set. Excuse me. But he lived up to them. He really did. And his recordings, there aren't many of them, but they are, as I've talked about before, really special. Almost every one of them. He didn't make a record unless he felt he really had something to say. Even when he repeated things, he didn't do it exactly the same way. Although he was mortal, he was fallible. He did a couple of recordings. His second recording of the Beethoven Fourth Concerto wasn't as good as his first. His Brahms piano concertos, but a lot of the problem was the accompaniment, actually, when it came to that. He was a real partner, and he needed somebody who could support him in the right way, and he didn't always get that. But his solo work, where he's all by himself and having a grand old time, is amazing. One of the things that makes his performances so special is his handling of rubato, that stolen tempo, speeding up and slowing down. Pianists do it all the time, and they particularly do it in Chopin. And they really do it in the first and fourth ballades. Second and third, well, they're shorter and simpler pieces. They can be played a little bit more directly, I think. But the first one and the fourth, oh my God. Da 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 bum bum ba da 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 da. I mean, it's just up and down and yeah, it's all over the place. I remember vividly, and I've told this story before, but it's singularly apropos in this context. I had a friend of mine who was practicing the fourth ballade, and she asked me if I would listen to her play it. And I did. She's very, very gifted, and she played it really well. But she was also, with the, schlepping and pepping and all that stuff. And I said to her, play it strictly in tempo. I just want to hear it strictly in tempo. Metronomic. Do nothing that isn't absolutely written down in the score that Chopin asks you to do, and play it in strict rhythm. And she found she couldn't do it, which was really very, very interesting, because when people learn these things, they learn it with the accretions as often as not. And they believe that that's expression, that that's expressive, but it doesn't sound spontaneous. That's the problem. You can do that stuff, but as often as not, it winds up sounding precious or calculated. And the wonderful thing about Moravec is that he's absolutely able to pack in maximum expression and without sacrificing fluidity, without letting the music just wither on the vine or sound like there's this the gears are turning in his brain. And the gears were turning because nobody was more meticulous than he was. But he made sure that it was all at in the service of the music and the musical expression of the moment. And so, the performances are wonderful. And when he gets to the coda of the fourth ballade, which is, one of the most difficult things to play in the literature, he doesn't just sail through it as if it's nothing, which a lot of pianists today can do. He plays it. It always sounds meaningful. It doesn't sound stressed. The virtuosity is the result of the emotion that the music is exuding. The first ballade is just as beautiful. The introduction is exquisite. The way he finally gets into the tune. Do, 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 yeah, no. I can't do it. Obviously humming, but it's incredible. And that, when the second subject bursts out triumphantly, it's glorious. And he never forces the tone. It never turns harsh. He never bangs. It's really great piano playing. And you also get on this particular disc a bunch of mazurkas. The C sharp minor ones, opus 50 and 63, numbers 3. The A minor, opus 7, number 2. The C major, 24, number 2. And the A minor, opus 17, number 4. He really does make them to little gems. And best of all, at the end, the Barcarolle. We all know the Barcarolle is another piece that could just fall apart. And that people, it has a rhythm. There's a Barcarolle rhythm, a real rhythm of a Barcarolle, and you can't ever lose the rhythm. You're on a boat, you're whizzing across a canal in Venice, and the waves are gently lapping at your gondola, whatever it is. It has to bark a roll, and it does. And the sound is beautiful. These were recorded in the 60s, 1965 and 69 for the Barcarolle. But he really cared about what his piano sounded like and what the sonics how the sonics came off in the room and all the things that make a completely satisfying listening experience. You can always count on Moravec to deliver that. So it's great. It's Barcarolle. Yes, it's the Barcarolle. It's the Ballades with Ivan Moravec. Astonishing on Supraphon. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.